discover how to start, grow, and monetize a business in today's episode with Alan Lazaros. Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu, mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services. Alan Lazaros is a CEO, speaker, podcaster, business coach, and he's the CEO of the Next Level University podcast, a global top 100 podcast with over 1,750 episodes listened in 170 countries. The first question is, tell us a bit more about your background and how you got started having an online business.
All right. So first and foremost, thank you for having me. I always want to start with gratitude. I started listening to podcasts 9 years ago, and they really helped me reorient my life in a more constructive, positive direction. So I'm grateful to be here. I do consider it such an honor. At one point, it was a dream. So thank you. I'm going to try to condense my story into a very, very, very short amount of time. I'm actually 35, even though I look 15. And so I'm going to try to condense 35 years into just a short amount here. So father passed away when I was very young in a car accident. Had a stepfather from age 3 to 14. Stepfather left and took 90% of the income with him. I was struggled through high school and college, but I bootstrapped my way through it. Got my computer engineering degree, got my master's in business, and then I was off to the races and I worked for many, many tech companies. I did very well. I rose very quickly. And then I got in my own car accident in my mid-20s. And that was sort of the second chance my dad never got. I was physically okay, thanks to the car I was driving. Thank you, Volkswagen, for making such safe cars, but it was definitely not a fender bender. And that's when I sort of started my own business. So my first business was called, it's not my first business. Technically, it's my second because I started one back in college, but the first business in this space was called Alan Lazaros LLC, what you'll never learn in school, but desperately need to know. And I wanted to inspire, motivate, and educate people about self-improvement and the power of it. And I wanted to speak at high schools and colleges, and that's not the greatest tagline to do that. So fast forward, I started a podcast called Conversations Changed Lives. And it was about being a fly on the wall to listen to a deep conversation between two really incredible people. And I was going to have guests and interview them about what their mindset is and what helped them succeed and what their careers are actually like versus what they thought they would be like. Kevin, my business partner now, who was on your show, he was my first guest. And then he had a podcast called the Hyperconscious Podcast, which is change the way you think, change the way you act, change the way you live. And so I was his first guest. He was my first guest. And then we teamed up and we created the worst named podcast of all time, which is the Conversations Change Lives meets Hyperconscious Podcast. And then we did that for about 20 episodes, 20 weeks. And then we rebranded we went all in on Hyperconscious, the Hyperconscious Podcast. Then eventually we did that for many years. And then we rebranded that to Next Level University. Level up your health, wealth, life, and love. Holistic self-improvement in your pocket from anywhere on the planet, completely free. And really we didn't know this at the time, but he grew up without a father and so did I. And so we're sort of becoming, I guess, the male role models we never had. And it's really about how to improve yourself in every regard toward your goals and dreams. It's about success, fulfillment, and achievement, but really in a fulfilling way and in a meaningful way to you. Now we have 1,800 episodes. Actually, you mentioned 1,700. We have 1,800 now, and we do an episode every single day. And now we're listened to in, like you mentioned, 175 countries. And it's kind of wild. We have a 20-person team now. And so, yeah, it's a lot. It's overwhelming. It's great. It's definitely a dream come true. And thank you for having me.
Thank you. What inspired you to pursue building and monetizing an online business?
I was looking at the 20th century and the 21st century, and I'm 35, so I grew up in tech, and I was the nerdy, built my first computer at 12, and I just saw where the world was headed. And I remember when I was at Cognex, which was the last company that I worked at in corporate, they sold industrial automation equipment into manufacturing facilities all across the world, machine vision. It was really the eyes of a robot. Picture, water bottles going down a line really fast and a camera that takes pictures and tests and makes sure it's quality assurance, the correct logo and the correct spacing and all that stuff. And I saw this really big problem happening in the world where automation was increasing exponentially. And if you think about this, and this is actually really quite scary, at least it scared me, is statistically speaking, if you do the research, the less educated population tends to have more children and tends to have them much younger. And so the less educated population increases faster than the more educated population. And so the more educated population, quote unquote, tends to have less children and wait longer to have children. And so I saw this huge problem. We're automating exponentially. So the jobs available to less educated workers are exponentially decreasing. And everyone's gone into a grocery store and had automated kiosks. That's never going away. That's going to continue happening exponentially more quickly. And so the amount of jobs necessary for less educated workforce is decreasing exponentially while the population increases exponentially. So I saw this as a huge future problem. And that's what made me want to, instead of making money selling industrial automation equipment and machine vision into manufacturing facilities that help take away jobs, I'm going to flip the script and I'm going to help people innovate and improve themselves to where they can create their own jobs online. And that's really where it was born, is out of this noticing of a need that is going to be deeply unfulfilled. And unfortunately, I was very fortunate to go to college at one of the best engineering schools in the world. It's called Worcester Polytechnic Institute, and it was $50,000 a year. And this is back then. So I wasn't able to go until I got scholarships and financial aid. And I know a lot of people out there don't have that benefit. So I really wanted to give back and create Next Level University, which is a place where anyone can level up their life, love, health, and wealth for free. And I believe so deeply in that, where, listen, if you're out there and you're entitled and you're lazy, there's nothing I can do for you. But if you're out there and you're humble and you're eager to learn and you're eager to grow and you're eager to improve and you want to have a magnificent career, we've got you. And there is a next level for you. And that's really where it was born.
Thank you. What are the first key steps someone should take when starting their business?
So that depends completely on the industry, but ultimately you need to get these three things dialed in. The first one is metrics, systems, org structure. The second one is products and services, which is packaging and delivering products and services. And then the third one is people, which is who's your target demographic, who's going to be your team, and who are you going to help, and really what's the purpose of all that. And those are the three things that you really need to get good at. And most of us are really good at one of them, decent at one of them, and terrible at the other. And so for me, I'm really good at metrics and habits and systems and structures and that. And I'm decent at packaging products and services and delivering products and services, but I'm really not very good with people. As an engineer, I playfully joke. I say, when you're in high school and a girl says, "Do I look fat in this?" and you say yes at level 6 out of 10, that doesn't go very well. So you basically hide this part of you that thinks in numbers. And so Kev, he's the people person who's relatable and likable, and I'm the esoteric weirdo. And together we build a good team, I think. And so I think most people need to start there, though. You need to understand, okay, who is the target customer? Why am I trying to help them? What am I trying to help them with? And can I actually get paid for that? Then the other one is, okay, what are the metrics that I need to track and the habits that I need to consistently do in order to actually deliver products and services to those people? And then what are the products and services? Am I going to be business to government, business to business, or business to consumer? And what are the free services that are going to lead to the paid services, or the free products that are going to lead to the paid products? I mean, even if you look at Audible, they have a free trial. So free leads to paid. And you really do, in today's economy, need to have some sort of a free into paid product or service. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble, because most people in today's market expect to get some value for free before they'll even consider doing business with you.
Thank you. I loved what you said about the partnership you have with your partner, Kevin, because I find myself in that sort of dynamic where my partner Harry and I, sometimes we're like the blind and the deaf, but together we make such a great pair in terms of coming up with great stuff and growing a business. Now, tell us about how to find a profitable niche.
Okay, so the 3 Ps is what we call them at Next Level University. The first one is passion. The second one is purpose. The third is profit. And Kevin might have talked about this on his episode, I'm not sure, but ultimately what he says is you got your Ps backwards, meaning you went for profit first. And if you go for profit first, so when I was a kid, I was told you're good at math, engineers make a lot of money, you should be an engineer. Little did I know, me sitting at a company called Tyco Safety Products, designing circuits for an entire summer, made me realize, okay, maybe I don't like engineering as much as I thought. But it was profitable. Being an engineer, a computer engineer in the 21st century, is very profitable. But it doesn't mean I'm passionate about it, and it doesn't mean it's my purpose. So what I think most people do is they go for profit first, which is a quick short-term solution to their challenges, and then they end up unfulfilled. So what I say is try to reverse that. Ask yourself, what am I passionate about? AKA, what am I obsessed with? And there's this great book called Same as Ever by Morgan Housel. It's actually behind me. And he talks about the things that never change. And that whole book is built on the principles of life that never change. And what I say to people is, listen, don't build your career on things that change. What about you never changed? What are you obsessed with that you're still going to be obsessed with 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now? That's what you build your career on. Once you know what that is, so for me, I'll just use me as an example, helping people achieve their goals and dreams ever since I was a kid. I just always find a way to make every conversation talk about that. Purpose is helping people. So the passion can be cooking. The purpose can be cooking for others in a unique way. Okay, so passion into purpose, and then do that for a profit. And then you reinvest the profits back into the craft of your passion, back into the purpose. So imagine there's a chef who is super passionate about cooking, who is going to cook in a restaurant for other people in a unique way, make a profit doing that, and then reinvest the profits into a cooking class to get better at their craft and into marketing efforts to have more people come to the restaurant, which is even more profit, which then gets reinvested again and again and again. And this can snowball. And so ultimately, that's what a business is. A business is a passion turned into purpose, turned into profit, and then that profit gets reinvested back into the snowball to get bigger and bigger and bigger, ultimately to help more and more and more people. And I think that's really the point of business, is to serve.
Thank you. What are some of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make when trying to scale a business?
Biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make. There's two ways a business goes out of business. One is it grows too fast. The other one is it grows too slow. If it grows too slow, it's crickets. You don't have any demand and you run out of money. You run out of cash. It grows too fast is you essentially cut profit margin. You end up doing too much and spreading yourself too thin to where you lose focus. I always joke, I say Tesla should not sell energy drinks and Red Bull should not sell cars. So you become this wandering generality who's chasing money and demand at the expense of the fundamentals of what makes you you, not only as a company, but as a person. And so those are the two ways that companies really go out of business. And so you have to be careful of that. And the way to do that is to never forget why you started, to never forget who you are, and to make sure that your products and services are all aligned with your core values and the purpose of the company. So for example, our podcast, Next Level University, is designed to help people reach their potential. Everything we do and don't do falls somewhere underneath that. So we have monthly meetups that are free. We have a book club. We help you grow, scale, monetize your podcast. We help you grow, scale, monetize your business. We have a journal. All of these things help people reach their potential. So the through line, the theme underneath our business never changes. And so, yes, we're building a business, but we're not going to go and landscape on the side. You got to stay in your lane and understand who you are and what you are. And this is identity stuff. And what is a brand? A brand is just the identity of your company. So Tesla's brand is electric cars. Red Bull's brand is energy drinks. My brand is reaching your potential, self-improvement, health, wealth, life, and love. And so you can't be everything for everyone in business. And if you are everything for everyone, you're going to basically go out of business.
Thank you. Once the business is up and running, what strategies do you recommend for growth?
One of them is constraint theory, which is Pareto's principle, but a deeper layer of Pareto. So Wilfredo Pareto was a scientist in the late 1800s, early 1900s, who found out that 20% of his pea plants produced 80% of the peas. And it's a simple principle that 80-20 rule is what people know it as. And essentially what it means is 20% of your effort is responsible for 80% of the results. You wear 20% of your clothes 80% of the time. Another one is 20% of the people drink 80% of the beer. But ultimately, this Pareto's everywhere. It's called a Pareto distribution. And to grow and scale your business, you have to double down on the things that matter most. But what if you took 20% of 20%? You get 4%. If you get 20% of 4%, you get 0.8%. If you take 20% of 8.8%, you get 0.16%. If you take 20% of 0.16%, you get 0.04%. I call them the 0.04% essentials. And with me and my team, we have a 20-person team, and we're setting up for Q4. I have everyone doing what's called a G3 target. Genius zone is the idea, and everyone has the G3 target somewhere they can see it. So mine is podcasting, training, and coaching. But ultimately, the goal is, what are the 0.04% essentials that really, really, really matter? And how do we let the other stuff not matter so much? You don't want to invest level time, effort, and money into level 2 priorities. And that's really the idea, is keep the main thing the main thing. And Pareto principle is a good strategy to identify what matters a lot. So for example, for us, staying consistent with our podcast is one of the most important priorities. So let's say some team member wants to have a meeting about something irrelevant or superfluous while we're supposed to be recording. We're going to be discerning and prioritize the recording because that is more important for our overall business success.
Thank you. Can you share some examples of some tactics and strategies that helped you scale your business?
Yeah, so tactics and strategies. So, okay, one of them is habit track and metrics. So I have this little goal achievement system. It's a triangle. And in the center, you put your goal. And then in the bottom left, there's 3 things. The bottom left is metrics, then habits, and then identity. And so what I do with each team member is I sit them down and we say, okay, what are our goals for Q4? So there's 97 days left in the year. And so Q4 is coming up in October 1st. And October, November, December is Q4. So, okay, what are we going to achieve? What are our goals? Top 3. We only pick 3. What are the top 3 goals for you in Q4? Let's say we're talking to the director of book club. So his name's Brandon. Okay, what matters in book club? We need more attendees, attendee engagement, and the amount of people that register for book club. Okay, that's what we're going to track. There's the metrics. Okay, now what are the habits? Okay, every week we're going to send a little digital asset saying which chapters, so people have clarity of which chapters they're going to read. Okay, I'm going to prep for book club, make sure I'm prepared. You're going to prep for book club, make sure you're reading the book. Another habit is batch the WhatsApp. We have a private WhatsApp group for book club. We have, I think, 55 or so members in there, and we're going to keep that group engaged. We're going to answer that. We're going to batch that once a day. So those are the habits. And then identity is where the real work begins, which is if you have a book club and you're the director of book club, but you're really shy, you're going to have to work on that identity. You're going to have to put yourself out there more. You're going to have to engage in the chat because we do live Zoom sessions every Saturday at 12:30. And so ultimately, those are the 3 things that really matter, because if you want to achieve your goals, you need to track the right metrics, do the right habits, and have the right identity. Because if you don't have the right identity, you basically won't embody the type of person who is successful at book club, so to speak, again, in that example.
Thank you. How do you maintain the customer engagement and build brand loyalty online?
Social media, and we have something called a sales star, and it's a 5-pointed star, and it's a simple framework. But the first one is get exposure. Social media is a great way to do that. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, you name it. The second one is create a meaningful connection. So the engagement. So let's say you get a comment on a post, you got to comment back and build a relationship. So the third one is build the relationship, which is have a meaningful conversation. You can DM them, say, hey, how you've been, whatever that is. Hey, how's life going? How are your goals? Whatever it is. And then the fourth one is offer a compelling solution. So once you get to know someone, now you know what they're trying to achieve. And if there's a solution that you have, maybe it's the journal, maybe it's group coaching, maybe it's one-on-one business, maybe you refer them to someone else. But ideally, most businesses grow through referral. So you offer a compelling solution to this person, whether it's, hey, I check out this book, The Compound Effect. It really helped me track my habits and dial in my life, that kind of thing. And then the fifth one would be follow up. And follow up means stay in touch. And I think, to me, in the 21st century, I think social media is a really good way to build community online, but it's a full-time job. Most of our relationships in the past, in the 20th century, were in person. After COVID, that has decelerated tremendously. And that's why companies like Zoom and StreamYard and other online platforms are doing very well, because a lot of us want to interact globally. We want to work from home. Not everybody, but a lot of people. And I think a lot of people have a larger amount of relationships in the social media world and in the online world than they do in the real world. And I think that that's exponentially more and more and more the case. It's just like online e-commerce, right? You used to go to the store to buy stuff. Now Amazon, you do one click. And some people still go to the store. I understand, I do too, but it's less and less and less percentage if you look at the statistics. E-commerce is growing, storefront is decreasing. And the same is true for social media and online connections. So between Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, TikTok, all these different platforms, you can build relationships with people online. When I was a kid, I was a semi-pro gamer. And so some of my best friends in high school were online via video games. And so this is very comfortable for me. But for some of the people that are older generations, they struggle with this whole online thing. And I think a lot of them need to really start embracing it if they want to be successful.
Thank you. How do you help entrepreneurs to grow their business?
Well, the first thing is I help them lead by example. Your team's never going to do what you're not doing. And so I playfully joke, I say, if you're not leading by example when no one's watching, just shut up. We have too many people just talking and not walking. But ultimately what it is I help the business owner sit there and say, okay, here's the type of people I want on my team. Here's the type of people I want in my community. Here's the type of people I want to surround myself with. And then I say, okay, let's put the mirror on yourself. Are you embodying that standard? So if you want a consistent group of growth-minded people to join your group coaching program to track habits and succeed, are you embodying that standard first? Because you attract what you are. And so if you are not humble, you're not going to attract humble people. If you are not consistent, you're not going to attract consistent people. If you don't invest in yourself, you can't expect other people to invest in themselves. And so I would say more than anything, I just help them improve themselves, because if you're the business owner, you are the make or break of the company's success, period. And you have to take personal responsibility for that.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.